Hello, you guys. It was a rainy day today, and it was dark for a long period of time, so I am getting a late start. I'm gonna go get my nails filled in. I'm gonna try to keep them up. Yes, I will try because I really do like them, and so I'm gonna try to keep them up. And I really want to go to the food place to see what they have tomorrow, but every time I've wanted to go, something always end up happening to where it's interrupted. And if it happens tomorrow, I'm just going to take that as a sign some reason I am not to go. And I just seen a video where a young lady, she dropped something out of her hand while she was trying to lock her door to leave. She immediately went back into her house. And I'm like, girl, I understand. Along with other people in the comments, like, that was the warning you needed not to go. So, yeah, but I've been really wanting to go because, food. Just to see, like, I can usually get, like I said before in one of my other videos, I can get like 3 meats in a box. I don't know if it's gotten, whether they do it a little different now. I think the need is a little bit more. So, yeah. But I do have, I already have a meat. So we'll just play it by ear. And I have some turkey meat. Like during the summertime, my mom would make sandwiches and put them in the refrigerator and a big thing of Kool-Aid. And that's what we have for the summer. So I think I will be doing the same thing. One year I told her that because I was like, and yo guys, I don't like to cook, right? So I think it was last summer I told her that. I was like, that's what you did to us. And it worked out. I didn't mind us having sandwiches, chips, and Kool-Aid. So I have to introduce that to my son. And I finally had to use the pimple patch, but I really think it started off as a heat bump, and I picked it. But yeah, I finally used the pimple patch. And I wanted to talk to you guys about, when people switch up on you, what could be going on and how is that able to happen. And I said it in a while back video, but how it is able to happen is they're out of alignment in some kind of way, and they the demonic spirit is able to enter them and take them over. So body snatchers is actually real. And that's why it is important to stay in alignment and to examine your thoughts, because they might not be your thoughts. It might not be you. So yeah, body snatchers is actually real. And the Bible kind of like tells you that. Like, it's not the person, it's the demonic spirit working through that person. And some people, they've had that demonic spirit in them so long that it just fully taken them over. They have never really wanted to work on anything to get better or to fix the problem. They've really given their self over to the dark side. And so are there evil people? Yes, they're evil people because they've made a conscious decision to give their self over to the dark side, and they can never be trusted. Never. Now, there's some people, you just got to be cautious, because it depends on what kind of situation you have that may be going on. But yes, are there evil people? Yes, because there's some people who've made a conscious decision. This is the way they're going to be. They're here to cause chaos. They're here to do evil, or the demonic spirit also has just taken them over. Can people come back to themselves? Yes, but they have to be willing to do a certain amount of work, or have they have to do a certain amount of work to develop a higher consciousness than what they did before. And that takes some kind of mental work, prayer, and things like that. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, there are some people that you may think that don't have a higher consciousness, and that they can't, they are not on the Lord's side, but they actually are. So you have to have discernment in every area. You have to discern a situation. And I know I talked about, not taking a ride from a stranger or whatever like that. I'm not telling you you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, just be discerning. And, there's a lot of good people out there, but there also are wrong types of people out there that's willing to prey on a person in some kind of way, And so, yeah. What the heck is that? There is literally a car. A man. Boy. It's a. Boy. Come on. Please. Thank you. A man putting cars on top of a truck with his forklift. And, yeah. And you know what? I'm in a wrong aisle. I'm in the wrong one. So, yeah. I think I've been really wanting to talk about that. About, body snatching, like type of thing. And the Bible saying demonic, it's not the person, it's the demonic spirit working through the person. And they've been doing wrong for so long. God even, it says in the Bible that God will give them over to a reprobate mind. And all we can do is pray for people. I mean, prayer is so needed for people. Yes, it's so needed. But like I said, that's my favorite saying. You don't have to be there. You pray for them. You pray for them from afar. Keep yourself as safe as possible, because God don't want us to be fools. He's going to protect us, but he doesn't want us to be foolish. Like how he told the disciples when he go to these places, if they see that something is not right, for them to leave, just leave. If they're not accepted. And he was trying to tell, I guess, my interpretation of that is, you don't want to cause any unnecessary thing to happen. Like him telling them to leave, it wasn't telling them to be fearful. It was telling them, protect yourself. And just leave, and don't. And if you're being confrontational, you're gonna cause a situation to happen that shouldn't have happened. If they're not willing to listen, if they're not willing to, heed to what you're saying, leave. Don't argue with them. Yeah. So, and that's to cause, not to cause any unnecessary situation. Right? We don't want to do that. That's why it says they don't want you to focus on blessing certain people. They will be blessed. And if there's the wrong kind of person, the blessing will return to you. And that's what he was saying about that. that's what he meant. Like, that's what the Bible meant when it says that, you know, when it was giving these certain disciples to go out. Yeah, because we don't have to be overly anything. And sometimes you don't have to say anything. You could just be a present in a certain place, and people will be blessed. You know, it doesn't take a lot of stuff. And Kenneth Hagin, he talked about, there's two things he talked about that, you know, I found interesting, and I take in heed to, that you don't have to be loud. You don't have to be loud in prayer. You can say a simple, short prayer for somebody, and it's accounted. And another thing he said in one of his books is, like, he used to pray for his son, and his son was used to him praying for him and it being effective. Well, one day he had to tell his son, no, God needs to hear from you. And that's kind of like I used to be. I used to rely on the words of my elders and try to remember what they said and recall from them. No, one day my grandma told me, she was like, here's a prayer, but you go in there and you talk to God yourself. And I was like, I don't know how. And this is when I was young, and but I was old enough to understand things. And she was like, God wants to hear from you. You know, she was like, you need to go pray and talk to God. And I was like, how? I was like, I don't know how. And she was like, you talk to him just like he's your father, like he would be your father, but he's your father in heaven. And I would, from that day forward, I started talking to God. And that's what Kenneth Hagin was telling his son, like, God wants to hear from you now. You have to, you know, pray for yourself. I'll be right here next to you, but you need to pray. And he never stopped praying for his son, but he needed his son to start praying for himself and develop that relationship with God himself. And I'm saying the same thing to whoever out there want to listen. God wants to hear from you. He wants that true relationship with you. And you have the power. So you want to pray for yourself, and you want to pray for others out there who may be going through, and never think that your situation is the only situation. There is other people going through the same thing that you are going through or went through. You know, there are certain people who have the same combination that you're going through. And the Bible also tells you that. Never think that you're the only one. You're not the only one. There's others who's going through the same thing. And so you want to pray for them also. All right, you guys, I better pay attention right now. And I will talk to you guys later and show you my nails.